Hey, friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw. Very special Going in Raw. Not only is it Ask Steve and Larson, Ask Going in Raw. If you'll notice on the top, if you're watching this on YouTube or on the Twitch Live, of course, I've got the AEW banner, and that's because a huge announcement today, shaking up the landscape.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that we have looked into the future and have already viewed Dynamite this week.
No, but we have seen the future of AEW, and it's Saturday nights, baby. That's right. Big announcement today, AEW Collision. Confirmed it's not Collison, so we can stop with that particular joke.
No, I'm not going to stop. You see Nick Collison was at the NBA draft lottery yesterday?
I did see that, yeah, because somebody tweeted it at me because of your joke. Hey, how about the Spurs? How about the Spurs? Anyways, So AEW Collision, Saturday nights, 2 hours. It's been officially announced today. What are the details that we know of, Larson? What was the actual announcement?
Open here. There's a lot of. It's 8 to 10.
We're a new podcast.
Yeah, there's at least a dozen tabs open here with various information and bits to talk about. So
yeah,
I did neglected to put actual notes together for this particular segment. So that's on me. Anyways, Saturday nights, 8 to 10 Eastern. No word if it's going to be airing live here Pacific time or at 8 to 10 as well. In the press release, it mentions that Collision will be headlined by Miro, Samoa Joe, Thunder Rosa, Powerhouse Hobbs.
Oh, huge name.
Andrade. And then one version of the press release mentioned one Phil Brooks, also known as CM Punk. However, that press release was edited. And then I think it was comicbook.com reached out and got a comment from Wonders who said that Punk not affiliated with Collision in any way because they're going to redub it Collison when he debuts on the 17th.
Okay. No, they're probably going to,
What? Fightful has some a lot more details. Fightful Select has a lot more details. And two different reports they had. One early this morning and another later the day after the official announcement. One thing, Fightful, it's always been like a weird back and forth thing. Is there going to be a hard brand split, a soft brand split? Is there going to be a handful of people exclusive to their respective brands and everybody else can jump back and forth? Fightful made it seem like this morning it was more hard brand split.
Yeah.
Save for champions and a handful of other people. I think it was PW Insider said, nah, that's not the case. But then Fightful in their subsequent report later today made it seem like, seems like it's going to be a pretty firm.
Okay, so I mean, just a little bit of, I guess, like obvious inside baseball. Sean Ross Sapp, had right now the number 2 creative guy in AEW had a podcast on his show as of like 2 weeks ago. I kind of feel, and I'm not saying that Will Washington's out there giving him info, but
not at all, no.
But it's probably the case. I mean, come on, like you, come on. If all of a sudden you started working at AEW. Well, I'll put it this way, the other way around, because you're actually usually good at keeping your mouth shut. If I was working at AEW, you're still doing this podcast? Yeah, you'd have the inside info. Of course, get out of here. We're friends. So I'll just say this. I kind of believe, and it's just a track record with Sean. I kind of go with Sean on this one. It feels like it's going to be a hard brand split.
That's your strong argument, in fact, is that given Sean's track record, I'm more likely to believe what he says, yes.
Dude, I'm sorry. Come on. Come on, man. The obvious. It's like a good friend of his is now working there in the number 2 spot.
I'm not going to read into the situation at all.
Come on.
So obviously Punk not involved in any of the upfronts. It was in the press release taken out. Fightful Select saying, yeah, Phil's going to be on Collision. This is interesting, though. Apparently Phil wants Ace Steel back in the company.
Yeah, that was sort of like it was pretty deep into the news report because it is a minor thing, but it's also kind of not, because you said it perfectly in the pre-show when we mentioned this. We brought this up. Was that dude bit somebody allegedly, and
it's a litmus test to see who really holds the power at AEW.
Yeah, pretty much.
If it's CM Punk, Ace Steel is going to be back on AEW Collison. If Tony Khan's decide to finally put his foot down, there's no way you bring back someone. I don't care the circumstances.
Yeah.
If you bite somebody at the workplace, you're gone.
Like we all saw the bite mark. I should drop the allegedly. We saw the bite mark. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be interesting. I'm sorry. Like if Hilton bites somebody, I'm sorry, Hilton. You're not coming. Look, I'm coming back. You're not coming back. You bit a guy and we saw the bite mark on his arm. Yep. So that was an interesting tidbit of news with all this stuff.
Yeah, that was interesting.
So, with all that information out there, instead of us diving into what this means and so on and so forth, this is Wednesday. This is Ask Steven Larson.
Yes.
You guys dropped a bunch of great questions, and I dropped the question thread after the announcement was made.
Oh, good.
So,
Good.
A lot of these questions are ones that we would be talking about anyways. Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to Alicia Harding, who's back, gifting 10 memberships to the community. Thank you so much, Alicia. It's great to have you back.
Thank you so much.
Duckman is also resubbed as a member here on YouTube. As a member, you get access to the question threads. You get access to the Wednesday Ask Going in Raw question thread, which is the entire show is basically your questions. You also get access to the Big Blue Predictions Challenge coming up the weekend of Champions, the end of May.
That's coming up soon.
It is coming up very soon. It's not this weekend, but the next weekend, where we've got NXT Battlegrounds, Double or Nothing from Vegas, and of course, the Morning of Champions, the McGriddle pay-per-view. That's right, from Saudi Arabia. We've got Night of Champions, and we're gonna crown the first ever Big Blue Predictions champion. So you get access to that at patreon.com/Steven Larson or by becoming a YouTube channel member. Larson, what's the first question?
Before I get to the first question, Brittany here says apparently it's specifically listed in his contract that Will can't share with Fightful. I remember him saying that too. Remember that being said. First question here.
Oh, God.
First question here from Jay Hosey says, who do you think will benefit the most from the brand split for AEW? We're talking winners of AEW brand split. Who will they be?
Ace Steel, clearly. Clearly, Ace Steel, if he's getting a job back. Okay, so take the obvious ones off the table. First name I noticed as being listed as a headliner, Powerhouse Hobbs. The people listed as headliners, Andrade El Idolo, who at this point seemingly was suspended for starting a fight with Sammy Guevara backstage, is now back listed as a headliner for Collision. So him, FTR, huge winners here. On the other side of it, what? Why'd you do that? A curious look.
I'm just listening.
Oh, okay. We had FTR, Thunder Rosa, who got her own spot. She's like, I think the lone woman on the graphic for the Collision. Also on the other side of things, relieving some of the pressure from some acts that might feel a bit, I don't know, I'm not going to say redundant necessarily. Look, they're different characters, but they kind of fill a similar niche, and that's Wardlow and Powerhouse Hobbs. You know, big buff dudes who sort of kind of do a little bit of the same thing. Maybe one's a good guy, one's a bad guy. So maybe, you know, I know Wardlow is he's still a TNT champion. And yeah, he's still TNT champion. Yeah. Maybe this will allow Hobbs to pursue, I don't know, the Orange Cassidy title or something like that. I mean, the championship seemingly, if this reporting is to be believed, the championships are going to maybe float across brands.
Yeah, according to Fightful Select, yeah, they are exempt from the brand split, seemingly, yes.
So those are the winners that I can immediately think of. What about some losers, man?
Well, first, another obvious winner is CM Punk. If not for this brand split, who knows if he'd even be back.
Yeah.
You know? If he's back and if he is able to exert enough influence to get Ace Steel, his friend, a job, huge winner. Phil Brooks.
Oh, dude, yeah. Massive. I mean, I kind of felt that was a foregone conclusion. Yeah, huge.
I just want to state that, so there's no ambiguity. CM Punk winner in this situation. And I guess the opposite end of that is the Elite, because they don't have to deal with CM Punk at work.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Or Mox seemingly either.
Yeah, right.
They don't have to deal with CM Punk.
Yeah.
All the people, yes, mentioned in the press release being on Collision. Obvious. Any wrestler in AEW that's had issues getting consistent time on television is going to be a winner here, because you think two brands, two relatively unique rosters for those brands, more TV time for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
hopefully.
Sure.
Hopefully. Yeah. And if that's the case, we want to see some of the incredibly talented people in AEW who have not been on TV very often, on TV more often. And hopefully that comes to pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Losers.
Yeah.
Who are the obvious losers? The fans, because we're not going to see the Elite versus CM Punk versus FTR.
Not yet, anyways. We'll see how time goes on. I kind of feel like if they were going to do it, like they should do it sooner than later.
Yeah,
because,
you don't want to wait too long.
Yeah. Losers, I don't know. Probably Chris Jericho, if he said that he was going to make sure CM Punk never comes back, and they're literally giving him an event called The Second Coming, if that's actually going to be the thing. He probably looks a bit like a fool now. The Elite, for one of them dudes got bit, and now it seems likely the guy that bit that guy is going to be coming back. So them, they're not getting the big red carpet treatment like Phil Brooks is getting. Yeah. So there's some losers for you. I don't know. I'll be honest with you, man. Right now, it's seemingly at the outset, there don't seem to be a lot of losers because, simply put, there's more time for people to be on TV. And if it's going to be a relatively hard brand split, then that means there's not going to be overlap. So it's not like you're going to have FTR on one show and then the Acclaimed has to worry about them taking up their time on the other show as well. So more time, exclusive rosters means more people getting on TV. I don't really know about other losers though.
Wrestling fans, you only have so much time in their day. Adding
that's
2
not
hours of wrestling to their schedule.
Okay, so I will add this. And Alex had a great Queen of the Ring had a great post on Twitter. It was like, "Oh, wrestling world, so happy there's Collision. YouTube wrestling content creators at the news," and it's like Ben Affleck, and it doesn't matter which picture Ben Affleck, he seems miserable all the time.
I know.
So that being said, yeah, I mean, wrestling. Look, if here's the thing though, if there's AEW fans out there who just really like AEW, guess what? They're winners.
Oh yeah.
If there's completionists out there who demand to watch everything, don't do that. That's probably just not good for your health.
It's too much.
Pick and choose, man.
Yeah, you can't watch everything. You could pretty much drop Rampage. That's a guarantee. Luis here asks, what pitfall should AEW avoid in the upcoming split? What should they avoid? What mistakes that we've seen in brand splits of past should they avoid? Establishing rules that they break in terms of it being a brand split. I mean, look, we don't know what sort of... My guess, and I could be completely off about this, my guess is that Tony Khan's not going to commit to calling this a brand split or something like that. Mm-hmm. He's simply going to have both these rosters on their shows, and he's not going to have a draft. I mean, clearly he's not going to have a draft because he's already sent out a press release saying that these particular wrestlers are going to be on Collision. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So don't commit to any rules that you then have to break, like WWE calling it a brand split and it not being a brand split. People showing up all the time and then them needing to justify it for stupid reasons. So yeah, that's sort of number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, be live as often as possible. That I honestly believe is going to be one of the major issues with Collision. Is if you're taped on a Saturday night, you're going to do dog shit numbers. I don't care who's on the show. Yeah. If you're taped, it's going to be dog shit and it's going to be a B-level show. That's just the bottom line. Yeah. If it's live, the majority, I'm talking like 48 weeks a year or whatever. Mm-hmm. If it's live that many weeks a year, then probably going to be in pretty good shape. That's my guess. Yeah, you'd think so. No, you're right about setting up rules and then breaking said rules. And when it comes to brand splits, if they come out and say each show will have a distinct roster and then Miro's on Dynamite in 2 weeks. Yeah, you're breaking the rules you set up, and then chaos ensues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you're setting things up as a firm brand split, you don't want chaos ensuing from that.
Mm-hmm.
The potential for chaos behind the scenes is so great as is. A bunch of people don't get along, potentially at pay-per-views, walk in the same corridors of the arena. You want to keep this as simple and as necessary, so you don't go and break the rules you set up for the universe you've created. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the most important thing.
Yeah.
The Derb Wanderer here asks, am I the only one that feels like an AEW brand split is just a bad idea? I mean, I feel like Dynamite can be a slog to watch some weeks, and I don't think adding a new show is going to help much.
So another thing that it's going to come down to, besides being live, is simply the quality of the creative.
Obviously, yeah.
I mean, that's going to be, look, if you and I do think the addition of Will Washington is a smart one.
Yeah.
He seems like he's a smart guy. And you know, when you have a couple more cooks in the kitchen beyond QT Marshall and Sanjay Dutt, I think you know, that's a good move, and that should help things.
Yeah.
You know, the creative has been up and down. I think there's been weeks that have been perfectly fine. I think last week was a perfectly fine episode of Dynamite.
Yeah.
But you know, I as I've said before, booking 52 weeks of television is not, it's not easy. And I personally think that, you know, their sort of downturn, creatively speaking, in 2022 had as much to do with injuries as it did with Tony Khan just keeping fresh with ideas. Because he had a massive roster. Now he's got two rosters, which might because you're compartmentalizing, might be a little bit easier to book, because you can sort of say, okay, this is what's happening on Saturday, this is what's happening on Wednesday. Or it'll be infinitely more complicated. I don't know.
He has to get the whiteboard out.
Exactly.
You know, in terms of the brand split being a bad idea, it's just the primary reason it's a bad idea is you're using that to avoid confrontation.
Sure.
And I don't know what legal mechanisms are seemingly in place that would prevent certain parties from discussing things and trying to work things out. But that seems to be an issue, and it seems to be the case.
Yeah.
And if that cannot be overcome, maybe this is their only recourse. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it seems like there is a high possibility of resentments growing because of this, and then incidents happening. Let's say it's a certainty. But if you got people who are being forced to be in different brands because of whatever animosity exists between them, well, at pay-per-views, they all still have to be under the same roof.
Yeah.
You know, whether they can keep them separate in different locker rooms, areas of the arena, who knows, whatever. But 4 or 5 times a year, everybody's got to be in that arena. And you'd hope everybody be professional and just be like, all right, fine, this is just the situation, and go about their work, but you never know.
I'm a little less concerned about that. Like, look, it's one thing to confront a person moments after he just ran down the entire company. But now with all things, you know, sort of past, and it's been whatever it's been 8
Almost
months
a year.
or whatever. Yeah. Well, yeah, when was that? Was that in
It was early September last year.
Early September, yeah. Okay, so it's been about 8 months, yeah. I don't think it's a situation where, you know, it's like, you know, 2 dogs on either side of a fence. You open up the fence and they start going at it. You know, that sort of isn't really, I don't know. I don't think that's going to be a big problem. But I do think that eventually, here's the biggest issue to me, is not necessarily the people now who are at odds being in the same building. It's, you're not going to be able to do a third and a fourth and a fifth one of these. And so running away from your issues of being able to manage people properly, that's going to bite you in the ass at some point. You're going to have to learn how to get people in a room together and get them to cooperate, because you're in the pro wrestling business, and you're not going to be able to do this brand split thing over and over again. And I guess Tony Khan has been on the lucky side, or it's been advantageous that this other show was booked. This was not a show created for CM Punk because of what happened. This was a show that Warner Brothers said, hey, we got a lot of confidence in AEW. We've got a Saturday night spot. We'd like to put you in that. Here's more money. Get this new deal going on, right? Well, that solves a problem fortuitously. There's an issue with the rosters. Let's go ahead and just split them. Okay. But like, the next time this happens, I mean, you're just going to shuffle people from brand to brand. Like,
what
I don't know
if someone has problems with CM Punk and the Elite?
Right. I know, exactly.
They have to go to Ring of Honor?
At some point, you're going to have to manage people.
Exactly.
So, I don't know. I don't even know what the question was. What was the question?
Oh, just
was the brand split a bad idea? No, I don't think it's a bad idea. I think I've seen that sentiment before. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think you have an immensely stacked roster. People need time on TV. I think, honestly, they should gut Ring of Honor and keep that strictly developmental. Because I want to see Athena and Eddie Kingston and Cloudy is on cable TV,
Yeah.
but Athena and Eddie Kingston, I want to see those two in particular on cable TV.
Yep.
Take all the best talent and put them on cable TV. Absolutely.
Agree. That we can agree on. Maritime Scott, have you brushed up on maritime law at all in the last week since we got a question from Maritime Scott?
Oh, dude, yeah, I'm an expert on that now, man. Ask
All right,
away.
well, tell me more. I don't even know where to start.
Oh, right. There's so much to go over. Why don't you
If I drop my wallet in the middle of the ocean,
yeah,
and someone finds it, is it like theirs now, or should they give it back to me?
No, it's theirs completely and totally.
All right.
Sorry, dude. Some shark's gonna be out there running, killing your FICO score.
So how about this? What if I drop my wallet in the ocean? A shark swallows it, swims to out of international waters, close to the U.S. shore. So he's in technically United States.
Once it was in international waters, it belongs to the shark, so it's his in total. Yeah. What's the question?
Hope to get my wallet back from Jaws. All right.
I'm
Really
sorry,
hoping
man. I'm
AEW
sorry.
leans into
Good thing you didn't take your arm too, pal.
Well, I should be thankful for that. Really hoping AEW leans into differentiating the new show visually from Dynamite. I love some set pieces.
Yeah.
What are you hoping for visually from Collision? So the graphic of the show, the logo, very reminiscent of WCW Monday Nitro, the classic logo for that.
Very much so.
You need the corrugated steel set.
Yeah.
Giant AEW letters.
Yeah.
Again, corrugated steel. Mm-hmm. Don't need the giant Tron. Mm-hmm. Or hell, give us the giant Tron. Mm-hmm. With everything else. All the accoutrements circa 1995, 1996. That's what I want to see.
Lean into it. Shoot
it with the same cameras. And then up-res it to HD like somewhere along the line.
I like what you said, except for up-resing it to HD. Give me SD 4:3 aspect ratio, please. Yeah. Yeah, dude, no, look, if you're going to lean into it, I know that, and it's funny because we talked about this too, the idea that, do they need to be on TBS TNT, or is that simply because the legacy of WCW
Well, what
was
other
there?
options would Warner Brothers Discovery have?
I don't know, Travel Channel, True TV.
I mean,
True TV does pretty well with the Pranksters guys.
Yeah, I know, but I imagine TNT and TBS are both well known and maybe in more households than.
So So it is entirely possible that they are like the biggest networks under the Warner Brothers Discovery, umbrella.
Is the CW still owned by Warner's?
I honestly have no clue, man. I do not know.
So at least that's on network television. You don't need cable for that.
Yeah. Discovery Channel's got to be on par with TNT and TBS. I could be completely wrong about that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Either.
But anyways, I don't know. What was I talking about? What was the question?
Oh, the look of Collision. It should be the same or different.
No, lean into the Nitro thing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Lean into it. Sure.
How about the theme that sounds like da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da?
Yeah, that'd be great too. You know what I really miss? I miss the original Dynamite setup.
Yeah.
The blue and white, the blue and red is just kind of generic, but the two tunnels, I loved that. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I know. And the various colors involved in the original graphic package of Dynamite. Yeah, I missed that too.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed out they changed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, more honestly, like if I were to suggest anything, set pieces. Mm-hmm. Big old set pieces of some sort. I don't know what they are. Yeah, if it's giant corrugated steel AEW like WCW's back in the day, yeah, I'm all for that.
Hell yeah.
Give me something tangible, something tactile. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Different. Has to be different from Dynamite. Different.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Different feel. Different vibe.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, I guess they're going to shoot Dynamite and Rampage the same, like on Wednesdays, and then Collision and Ring of Honor.
Oh yeah, sure.
On Saturday. So I understand you could move some things around for ROH, but there'd be some overlap in how it looked, probably.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like you could wheel out the giant AEW corrugated steel letters, maybe replace them with ROH instead.
What did they do? Yeah, what did they do with well, that's actually a cool idea. You wheel out like the giant AEW corrugated steel letters, and then you bring in like some the Ring of Honor, but in the font of like the old Monday Night Raw one. Remember they had the giant practical Raw there?
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
But
make it part of the entryway if people have to go through it like they did on Raw.
Right. Yeah. What'd they do? Dude, when WWE started running their own weekly ECW, like the crappy ECW.
Uh-huh.
Like they had a weird thing because they were doing the same thing. They were shooting like one show and then they would do ECW taped. And it was like, I think they used like a side entrance or something weird.
That's strange.
It was like, yeah, we'll have to go back and look at it one day because it was like really bizarre how they tried to make it look like, low budget like ECW was.
Yeah.
And I think they shot it like the entrances were like off to the side of the main stage
weird.
or
They
something.
did them in arenas. So how can you make it look low budget when you're in an arena?
We gotta, yeah. Okay, so yeah, John says the WWE CW entrances were basically in the crowd. Yeah, we'll have to go back and look at those because
I admire the thought, but at the same time, like you're trying to make something look underground and low budget when you're in a giant arena with 10,000 people in it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know, but half those people, they're all gone anyway. They're all tired.
Yeah, I know. So you got a bunch of empty seats. Where was I? Fuzzy Dunlop here asked, what would be considered a success for Collision for the first 6 months viewer-wise, averaging 800,000, a million more? Plus, if Collision makes Rampage lose more viewers, this is a problem? Fair? I mean, I understand Rampage's been bounced around in terms of the night time it's on. But, I mean, lately numbers for Rampage have been god-awful.
It was
like the 200,000s.
Yeah, it was like, I think it was like 290
Yeah.
On this past Saturday's episode because it was
not
preempted.
Good. It's not good. So if the idea they've canceled Dark and Elevation, my understanding is they're going to kind of make Rampage something kind of like that. Probably more matches, shorter matches, a lot more enhancement matches. I think the idea is really to take whatever they thought was good or intriguing about Rampage, move that over to Collision, plus add more elements of Dynamite, which by that I mean story development and exciting matchups.
Yeah, right.
In terms of what will be considered success for Collision, I think initially, since it's Saturday, which is historically not a good night for television, the level of competition they're going to have running Saturday nights, I would think somewhere in the area of 600,000 would probably be considered a pretty wild success.
All right, so first up, Leisha just gifted 10 more memberships. Thank you so much, Leisha. I think she's cutting out, so have a good day, Leisha. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Leisha.
So from the outset, the very first episode of Collision, which, by the way, there are no other pay-per-views in June besides Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
So I would we're going to do like a live watch-along and a review of Collision for the first week, and then we'll see what they got on tap for the second week. But certainly by the third or fourth, we're going to be done with that.
Yeah, it'll be like what Thunder was by week 3, I'm sure, yeah.
In terms I meant for us, dude. I meant we're not going to be doing this Saturday shit every week. But yeah, it's entirely possible it's going to be thunderized by
well, the first week of Punk's return, 900,000, a million, probably. Second week, people realize, all right, this is kind of like a little bit of watered down Dynamite on a really crap time. I'd rather be out at the bar. 750. Third week.
How is it you read my mind from June? I'd rather be out of the bar. This is
Third
crap.
week. Beer is better than Collision.
Yeah.
More people at the bar. It settles to around 600,000.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Okay, so taped episodes. I'll be honest with you. Taped, they're lucky to get 400,000. Well, I don't know. That's half of what Dynamite does. I think it'll do better than that. 650. I think they'll do 650 after week 5. After week 5,
I think the average will be in the 600s. Yeah.
I think so as well. Yeah.
And I'm guessing that would be considered a success.
I would guess so. Look, they're not. I kind of don't think that Warner Brothers Discovery are big dummies. I mean, I know there is some evidence to suggest otherwise, but clearly the one thing they probably understand is like, okay, these are numbers based off what we've already had that we can expect. But I don't know about, I honestly don't know. They're basing a lot on CM Punk being there.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know. I mean,
if he ain't there it does. But if he's not there, there's also an aspect of drawing power.
Oh yeah.
If he's not there and the episodes with no Punk and the episodes being taped, if that's the case, if that's ever the case, and I have no idea what their taped or live ratio is going to be.
Yeah, I don't know either.
You know, if they keep up the good creative and a lot of shit actually happens. But I don't know, one of those Twitter accounts today, I think it was Trevor Dame, said something like, I feel like we're 6 months away from Tony Khan saying, yeah, I really need to invest more into Collision. You know, the way he did with Rampage like 3, 4, 5 months ago or whatever it was.
Yep. Yeah, it's I mean, you can only do so much to get over a bad time spot. And this Saturday at 8 is a much better time spot than what Rampage has. At the same time, you want prime time during the week is what you want.
Yeah.
Prime time during the weekend is not ideal. We got a question here from 1979. Steve, give me a stone cold what?
What?
Thank you. Says, with the impending premiere Collision, does this increase the odds of Rampage being outright canceled within the next several months?
No, I don't think so.
No, because I think there's a very Dark and Elevation served a very distinct purpose, which is padding win-loss records, and more importantly, giving new wrestlers in AEW and wrestlers from the independents an opportunity to get more work.
Yeah, right.
And I think Rampage will still exist for that purpose.
Okay, but hold on. There's a reality that you're leaving out, though. They don't give a shit if they're building up new stars. If the numbers go down like 150,000, you know,
added value. I mean, yes, Rampage does added value at this point.
Well, I mean, look, Rampage is probably going to be part of the.
They signed the deal. They sold the tickets, Steve.
It's going to be It's going to be part of the new deal. So you know, they can't. I don't think they can use that exclusively. And I know you're not saying it's going to be exclusively that, but they got to jazz it up a little bit.
You get Mox every other month.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, who headlined Rampage this week? Was it Orange? No, was it? Who was it?
No, it wasn't Orange Cassidy. It was Swerve and Brian Cage against Dark Order. That was the main event.
Yeah, and that was on Saturday. It did 290.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Rampage will just sort of chug along. Like that'll be. Here's the thing, though. Dynamite has its own B show, and Rampage is Collision eventually going to get its own, you know, whatever.
I think it's taped with it. It's Ring of Honor, Steve.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. It's Ring of Honor, but that's not on cable TV.
No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like Rampage is going to be kind of a watered down version of what it is.
Oh, you think it's going to be like a worse version of what it is already?
Well, it would be like an hour of matches. I don't think it'd be a whole lot of story development.
I like that you think you can get away with calling something watered down and not what you mean worse.
Well, I mean, if because I know a lot of people. I didn't watch a lot of Dark and Elevation. I know some stories happened there.
A lot of
we've heard anecdotally about people
stuff,
thought there was good stuff on Dark and Elevation. If they take the elements that worked on that, moved over to Rampage, you don't get the higher profile names, but maybe you'll get some interesting stories, and there'll be opportunity, another hour of television for people that either want or need the extra work to get that on a cable television show.
Yeah, maybe. But Dark and Elevation also kind of existed in its own, not universe necessarily, but like, you know, those stories would play out on the YouTube shows. Every once in a while they would spill up into Dynamite.
Yeah.
But by and large, it would stay on that show. Like Athena's entire heel run basically was there, and then she showed up all of a sudden as a bad guy in Dynamite.
Most of Matt Hardy and Ethan Page's story was on Dark and Elevation.
Yeah, and then it sort of spilled up into Dynamite as well. Yeah.
Yep. Ty Moore here asked if All Out is supposed to take place 1 week after All In. The rumors of a hard brand split for AEW. Which of the two events do you think will be Collision branded event, while the other is a Dynamite branded event? And do you think we'll see any crossover of wrestlers for each show? You'd think you'd have to see crossover. You know, I'd be pretty surprised if one is like All In is Collision branded and All Out is Dynamite branded, because
I'd be shocked at that. Yeah,
you look at the ticket sales right now for Double or Nothing. They're not great, and that's with.
Oh, is that true? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I don't think it's that great right now.
Okay,
it's not like this could be half empty, but compared to last year, it's not the best. And you run the risk of that happening potentially. Like, how can you have all out in Chicago and not have CM Punk there?
Oh, yeah.
And Punk's going to be at All In.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any chance. I don't think there's any chance that these are going to be brand exclusive pay-per-views. I don't. I think that it's likely that, you know, number one, the roster is so loaded that you can fit all the big names, all the major names on both shows, and then still get all the, you know, the undercard matches filled up with just really, really good wrestlers, and you can tell all those stories. I think the bigger thing is going to be where is like are they both going to be $50 pay-per-views?
Yeah. Or does Max come into play with all this?
Right, because I think it was
All Access is going to be on Max.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I know. Was it like Wade? I think Wade Keller had speculated that I'd have to double check it. But there would be some sort of like Max content integration with AEW. And if you're saying All Access, I wonder if there might be big events as well. Maybe even they'd shift Battle of the Belts over to Max.
Yeah.
Or, they'd kick off the new era by having All In be a Max exclusive. I think that's at least a possibility.
Yeah, I would think so. So WrestleTix said right now there's just under 7,000 tickets sold for Double or Nothing with about 2,900 available. So it seems like it's set up for around 10,000.
Oh, 10,000 for Double or Nothing.
Of those 10,000, 7 have sold.
Okay. And we're coming up on, a week and a half.
2 weeks away.
Yeah, right. Yeah, all right. See how that goes.
Matches.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I know. I think that there's enough going on right now in AEW that because you got the brand warfare, or not brand warfare, you've got the gang warfare stuff with Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite. So I mean that you could get several matches out of that. You can get several the whole thing, like both teams going at it, maybe like do an elimination thing, and then you can break them up into like singles matches as well. On either, big show or whatever like that. Yeah. So there's a lot they got going on. Yeah.
Totally. I mean, if you kind of look at it All In and All Out as a package deal where one leads into the other, there's some storyline possibilities there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Rich Rivera will pivot now from Collision Talk, AEW Talk. Rich Rivera asked, do you guys think that there's an actual plan for how the Bloodline story will end, or will WWE run it to the ground and give us a disappointing ending?
Let's see here. Hold on a second.
I think they really want to do. They really still want to do Rock and Roman because they want to give Roman that win. They want Roman to get over 1,000 days, maybe even best. That's a long ways from there, but maybe even best Hogan's 1,400 plus day title reign.
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like Cody's the guy to beat him. When and where it's going to happen, that might be a little more up in the air.
I'll be honest with you, man. I don't think they have distinct plans for anything. I really don't. At this point, it was kind of silly that anybody thought Cody was going to win at WrestleMania in retrospect, right? Not really silly. I thought it too. Obviously, I thought it. But given how obviously there was so much more story to be told with Roman as champion, in retrospect, of course, in hindsight, it just makes so much more sense for him to win that damn match because look what they're doing now. There was no end. Like that story was not meant. That was not an end right there. And I think that they are going to do what they always do is continue to build people for when they understand the story naturally should come to its end. And most times in wrestling, they don't get that and they beat the dead horse. They just keep on going with it. And I hope in this case, they'll understand, okay, there's a natural arc here, but they're going to get through the Usos and Roman and Solo first, all that stuff. There's so much more that they can seemingly do I honestly, I would not be shocked to think they don't have a distinct plan of who they are building Cody because they think that it's very likely that he's going to be the guy. But I think you can never discount a Seth Rollins as well, or maybe, a different name. But those two are like the names I think that they would understand. Let's keep these guys protected and in feuds that will continue to build them back up to Roman, mainly Cody, but also keep in mind things can fall out from under Cody in a heartbeat, like we've kind of seen that before. And maybe the same with Seth, which we've seen that before too, when he was just trying to be good guy Seth Rollins and it didn't work. Nope. They're just going to do what's best for business. And right now it is clearly Roman Reigns in the Bloodline.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it made a lot of sense for Cody to win at WrestleMania this year. Just the way they were telling the story. It seemed like things were falling into place. There was finally a unit cohesive enough, seemingly, to counter most of what the Bloodline had. This didn't account for Solo. But I think it wasn't just Cody facing off against Roman that got people's expectations up. I think it was how they were telling the story leading up to WrestleMania. It seemed like for the first time since Roman won those titles, most everything is in place for Roman to lose.
They
didn't happen.
They did a really good job with that several times along the way, though. Like Drew McIntyre was like, "Oh wow, this clash."
Some felt different about Cody though, because it was at WrestleMania. He had Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. They had that bit of alliance. It felt like the strongest opportunity they had for someone to beat Roman.
I bought into it too.
I know you.
I'm just saying. Look at the aftermath. I'm like, oh yeah, this kind of makes sense. This makes a bit more sense than not.
Play out, obviously, yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Stan here says, as much as everyone wanted MJF to win the AEW title, is he living up to expectations? Does he feel like a step down from previous champions?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, man. I don't think he feels like a step down. I think MJF does feel like kind of a special talent, and I like them rolling with youth. No, I think MJF has proven himself to be a pretty capable champion. I mean, I don't know about this Pillars 4-way. I think it's going to be a really good match. But yeah, I mean, look, when you've got... I will put it this way. I probably because I'm supposed to, I like the Hangman character more than MJF. MJF does have more camera charisma. He is, more compelling on the screen. And I think so far his championship run, and I know it's not really saying a lot because Hangman's, they obviously didn't have plans for Hangman afterwards, except for just feud here, and not really continuing like a character story. But I like MJF's run so far more than I liked Hangman's run.
I don't know. I don't disagree with you, but at the same time, Tony Khan has done a far better job creatively at building up people to win the title as opposed to booking them after the title. I think Kenny's title reign is a bit of an exception because I wonder if a lot of it too is because Kenny had a lot of input into it, and they had where they were going next with Hangman laid out. Mm-hmm. So Kenny's run as champion, I felt like it was really solid.
It was the best. I think it was the best of the bunch. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you look at not just the World Heavyweight title scene, but most of the title scenes in the existence of AEW, once someone wins the championship, it's not universal. There's examples of story like Darby Allin's first one with the TNT title. I thought was booked pretty well. They were telling a story with his title reign, and he lost to Miro. Actually, a lot of the early TNT title reigns I thought were booked pretty well.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But there's a number of examples.
It's because Cody was doing it.
Thunder Rosa when she won the women's title. Mm-hmm. Hangman after he won the World Heavyweight title, where there's seemingly so much creative energy put into the chase to win title that once title is won, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
And I liked a lot of MJF's feud with Danielson. The Iron Man match was great.
Yeah, it was.
It took him a while to get going on a really interesting creative direction, though. It wasn't like immediate, oh, this is really good stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think having all four of the pillars in the ring talking for 20 minutes is the best way to tell the story they were trying to tell.
Yeah.
In this instance, the idea, I like it. The execution, meh. It seemed like they've corrected course a bit of late. You got Jade Cargill, a good majority of her title run as TBS champ has been completely bereft of actual stories. Mm-hmm. Which is a great disservice to her and her immense talents and building her up to be a superstar, which is what she is. Mm-hmm. She is someone you build the company around.
Yeah.
And creative has consistently dropped the ball when it comes to her reign as TBS champion. And so I think it's more of an issue that plagues AEW in total, where someone wins championship and you're super excited, yay, champion. And then creative from, title win onwards kind of meh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just kind of like a usual thing in AEW, barring a few exceptions.
I don't think there's been a good TNT championship run since Miro.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Wasn't it Sammy after who won it?
It was
from
Sammy.
Miro?
It was Sammy and Cody traded off.
Sammy Cody.
Scorpio Sky was in there. He traded with Sammy a couple times.
Yeah, then it was Wardlow.
And then he lost it to Wardlow, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been the TNT titles.
And then
so
Joe had it. Well, Joe had it was all right because he's Joe.
So to get back to MJF really quick, so our video where we did like the 10 best AEW stories, MJF accounts for 40 of them. I'm sorry, 40% of them, 4 of them.
Yeah.
And there is something about him that either creative focuses on him or he makes a point or everybody else around him makes a point. Whatever it is, MJF always makes an effort to be compelling.
Yeah.
And that's why so far, and it just feels like he, sometimes with Mox, it felt like, all right, I'm the guy who's got to get the job done around here. So give me the title, I can run with it. And I like Mox and I think he's fine. MJF seems to want to make this title a big deal. And either it's a performer or it's creative or it's Tony Khan or whatever. And I really appreciate that about that. I don't know how much Hangman was and again, this is all speculation, but you got to look at either the performer or creative. Why is it MJF always has something good lined up? Do you think it's him? Do you think it's Tony Khan? What is it? Why is it MJF can do this, but not Hangman? You know what I mean? And I don't know what it is because we're not there.
Here's the other thing to consider. I'll throw this out here.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's a combination of both, but also with the situation like Hangman, where the journey was such an important part of AEW full stop during that time. It was a 2-year story they were telling with Hangman since he first challenged for the title against Jericho
to
him winning it. Mm-hmm. And it's arguably the best story AEW has ever done. I know the company hasn't been around that long, but in the history of the company, Hangman's journey to the championship, you could make the point, I think I would personally, that it's the best story AEW has told to date.
That was number 1 on our list.
Yeah, it was number 1 on our list.
Yeah.
It's hard to recapture that magic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a tough spot to be in. You look at Daniel Bryan when he won the title at WrestleMania 30. That crescendo was so enormous and so filled with emotion that just about anything they could have done would have felt like a step down. I don't know why they stepped all the way down to a feud with Kane, rather than having him feud with someone it was a consistent main eventer up to that point.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a story that crescendos in such a way, maybe it's just kind of hard to think, okay, how are we going to continue that momentum or capture even just a fraction of that magic?
I think, I know, but it's so much easier when you have an interesting character and an interesting performer like MJF. And that's not taking anything away from Hangman. It's just, in my opinion, MJF he's much more dynamic of a performer. You can see what he does on the mic and it outpaces everybody. And he wrestles once in a lifetime, but even in the ring, he's pretty darn good.
But the fact that he wrestles sparingly makes his matches special.
Right.
No, I
and I'm just sort of curious, how did this guy get this done? Because seemingly, and it's sort of the point of the Pillars thing, is everybody's bitter because MJF has simply figured out how to put himself in the best position at the age of 25.
I know.
In some respects, you have to respect that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But also, I wonder if some of it is simply Tony Khan understands this guy is a compelling performer. He really is. Yeah. And that's why he just comes off as a more compelling champion. It seems to matter more to him than any of the other champions.
Maybe here's the thing. Maybe Tony Khan has an easier time booking heel champions.
Oh, most promoters do, though.
I would think
that's a tradition. That's a thing in wrestling, man.
Outside of Vince McMahon, historically speaking, it's you have the heel champ and you have babyface's chase. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Vince is the kind of the lone example of someone did opposite, where he had Hogan run, or Bruno before that.
But look at Hogan; that dude was a heel.
Vince wasn't running WWE when Bruno was champion, but the point stands.
But that's the thing. I mean, you were going to make a video about it. Vince McMahon booking Hogan as a face, he was just booking him as a heel. Yeah. He'd cheat all the time.
He would.
Yeah.
He'd threaten the ref. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But going back, it was kind of the same philosophy I was going to say that his dad had with Bruno.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Babyface had the belt for 8 years. You throw heels at him.
Yeah.
Just continually build him up. That was just the McMahon booking philosophy.
I'm going to go back and watch some Bruno matches to see if that dude ever cheated. Probably not. Shit was boring back then.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Alex Washington here asked, do you think WWE will ever do anything meaningful with Ali? I keep reading these interviews where they had plans for him, but they get derailed for whatever reason. He's not beating Gunther. Do you see him wearing gold in WWE or having a major story?
Did you see the quote where he opened up about the politician stuff?
No.
Yeah, so him and Vince apparently were on the same page about, and this is a very recent thing.
I saw the bit about him using Hogan's theme.
Okay, that was part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Vince was on board with that. And apparently Ali did this in the Indies, or at least one of the comments that I saw said that. I have no idea if that's true or not. But he was going to come out with his podium and he'd launch campaigns against his opponents and use that to get title opportunities. And if I remember correctly in the interview, sort of said something like, the climate just didn't seem right. We didn't know if it would, I think it was, we didn't know how well this would play to the live crowd. Which, if not executed properly, it'd probably not work.
Yeah.
But yeah, using Real American, Vince was on board with that, and evidently it just didn't work. And I don't know. He didn't bring up. I remember there was some reporting about there was something that Vince wanted him to do that he didn't want to do, and that's when they became sort of a stalemate there.
Yeah.
But no, I thought that was kind of interesting. He seems. I mean, he's got a good spot now. He's in the Intercontinental Championship hunt against Gunther. He's going to lose that, But I don't know. He's on TV every week. He's got a gimmick that seemingly both Triple H and Vince are on board with. Whether or not he can turn it into something, that really transcends and really connects with the crowd is going to be the next big test.
Yeah.
But, man, when he was revealed as a leader of Retribution, I was like, oh, cool. Maybe this is an opportunity for it to be something really cool. But then they just didn't. They just didn't get any wins. Yeah.
No, they didn't do anything with it. Continually, he seems like he's got tons of interesting ideas. How many times has he put like a thing he shot on Twitter, or maybe on occasion it shows up on WBTV, and it's like, wow, this is really interesting stuff.
Yeah, sure.
It's usually shot really well. Mm-hmm. Like the politician vignette that was out there looked great.
It did. It really did.
It looked awesome. Yeah. He seems like a really creative individual, and I hope at some juncture that is rewarded with
I agree.
A real good, meaty, meaningful story.
Yeah, for sure.
Like in ring, nothing to complain about. Phenomenal wrestler.
Phenomenal.
One of the standouts from 205 Live, his matches against Buddy. Some of those were awesome. Some great matches against Cedric Alexander as well. He checks all the boxes of what I look for in a wrestler. Someone who's good on the mic, excellent in the ring, exceptionally creative.
Yeah. And
it'd be great if he was given an opportunity to showcase all that on a regular basis with something meaningful. Hopefully he at Night of Champions, he's at least given an opportunity to put on a competitive match against Gunther. And it's not a 90-second squash.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, except for that last bit, 2 minutes max. Gunther squashes him. And he's bumping all over the place. Chop, and he bumps out of the ring.
Well, here's the thing: is Ali will bump all over the place, whether it's 10 minutes or 2 minutes. He will do that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
He's going to make Gunther look great. And
if it
one
goes
thing I really
more
appreciate
than...
about Gunther, for the most part, is he's very giving in the ring. He will bump for anybody too.
Yeah. Here's what they should do. Right. 2 minutes max, and anything more than that, dereliction of duty. No, man, I say that tongue in cheek, man. Come on, I know you're absolutely right, man. Give him 10 minutes and make them both look great.
Yep. Carl Heyman here asks, you could pluck peak Bret Hart. First of all, what did you consider peak Bret Hart?
Probably spitting in Vince McMahon's face and then punching him out backstage.
That's good. From so 97, you say. From the past,
November 97, baby.
You have a 5-star feud and match with anyone in the last decade. Who you going with?
Anybody in the last decade? Oh, come on. It's Bryan Danielson.
See, at first I want to say Gunther, but knowing how Bret took issue with how hard Vader hit, Bret might take issue with Gunther's chops.
Yeah, sure.
So Danielson's a great answer. There's another name that popped in my head pretty quickly. I'm going to go with Okada.
Okay, yeah. Oh, terrific. Absolutely.
I mean, Okada's a 5-star match machine.
He is, absolutely. Can't go wrong with that.
Put him there with Bret Hart. 5-star match is guaranteed.
Oh, man, another great name. Mayor Plain Houston says Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, Will Ospreay would be a good opponent, too.
Terrific.
Kenny Omega.
Kyle Fletcher.
Good. Yeah. Orange Cassidy.
Oh, that might actually be the real answer, because all those other guys, you know what you're going to get. Good match. Yeah. Good match. Who cares about that shit? I want to see Bret in a comedy match.
Rob Shit.
think you just won right there, man. Yeah, Rob shit.
Rob shit. We can lightning round some more questions got here.
Let's do it.
Kiddo Hudson live says, since the new logo for AEW Collision, Collision is heavily inspired by Nitro. Which old wrestling logo would you choose to recreate with your wrestling show ACW Surge as a rebrand?
Oh, I'm thinking of doing an ECW version of the an ACW version of the ECW logo.
Yeah,
I love that. That's what I try to do, sort of with Surge. Is cut it like an old ECW episode.
Yeah.
You know, with like little in between between the cuts and stuff. So yeah, man, it'd be ECW.
Let's go further back. Let's do anything from the 80s that wasn't WWE.
Oh wow! Well, AWA had a solid logo.
Yeah, AWA had a good logo.
They had a really cool
AWA is the answer.
The shield. It was kind of like a shield type thing.
Grappling.
Two guys going at it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the answer. That's what it is. Eastside Reviews. What do you guys? We kind of answered this. What do you guys think is best worst case scenario for Carlson in the long run? 600,000 is probably the most likely. Best case would be Dynamite numbers. Worst would be Rampage numbers.
You got it exactly right. Yeah.
DJ Mott, how would you guys feel about WWE promoting titles from NXT to the main roster? For example, they make a mid-card women's title and have it start in NXT. After a few years of that title gaining some prestige, you could bring it up to the main roster. They could trial run this idea with the NXT women's tag titles. So belts get called up.
I like it.
All right.
Belts stay where they are.
Okay. Fair enough.
No.
Who
was high when they? Who was that? Who was high when he said that?
That was Eastside Reviews. Odd breakfast.
Oh, Eastside Reviews. Oh, I love Eastside Reviews. Yeah. Like, listen, guys, I got this great idea. The people don't get called up, but the belts do.
Their belts are in developmental as well.
Yeah. No, it's an outside the box idea. I like it. Eastside Reviews.
The idea of
I give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, the NXT women's tag titles and bringing them up to SmackDown, redubbing them to SmackDown women's tag titles, so each brand has women tag titles.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, man.
Odd Breakfast, do you think Asuka could have lost to Ember Moon in NXT, therefore making Ember Moon a huge deal, and then gone to the main roster without the winning streak? She could have definitely been treated like a dominant force without the pressure of the streak.
Oh, man. You know what? That's the problem, is that Asuka was dependent on them respecting the streak, and they really kind of didn't that much. I know she won until WrestleMania, and then she lost. She should have won that as well. You had a good point back in the day. Nobody really seemed to fear Asuka showing up. They were like, "Oh, we want to fight
in line to wrestle."
Yeah, right. But so no, I say you do it the way you do it. She kept the streak. Don't use it to get anybody else over. I love Athena. She's like one of my favorite wrestlers. She really is. But they never really cracked a great character for her. Certainly, I think if anybody was going to beat Asuka, I think I would have preferred it to be Shayna Baszler, because she had a hell of a character there in NXT. And I know she didn't overlap Asuka much, but had she shown up a little bit earlier and went on her run, then that would have been a good person, I think. But they didn't have anybody between Asuka and Shayna Baszler who had that character that really that was really so well defined.
Yeah. I mean, Ember Moon pushed Asuka to. I mean, Asuka basically had to cheat to beat her when they're matches.
Yeah.
Push her to the limit. So, I mean, I guess there's something to be said for for getting called up to main and not having to worry about whatever creative difficulties were associated with the winning streak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Something to be said for that. And at the time, Ember Moon was the strongest competition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even though they never really cracked Ember Moon's character, everything else about Ember Moon was great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Phenomenal wrestler, the packaging, the theme, all that was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you could have had Ember Moon win, and then during the title reign, develop the character.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's not what happened, so. Basie here says, you're tasked to introduce Rawgate into the AEW universe by Tony Khan. He asked you both.
Yeah.
How do you do it? And what's the exclusive new name for this machine in the AEW universe?
I would go behind your back and say, don't listen to anything Larson says because he hates Rawgate technology.
Wow. Thanks,
He's
Kendall
anti.
Roy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. One crown, one king. You know, you and me together, Tony. Let's do it. Hey. Yeah. So, yeah, I totally succession you out because you're anti-Rawgate technology. And I feel like we need to maximize the potential of it. And I just say, bring them all in. You know, once they're gone, you know, it's like Bret Hart. Does he have a contract? Maybe Bret Hart now, but Bret Hart from 1997, bring him through Rawgate. Yeah, WWE has that Bret Hart contract, but this Bret Hart from 1997, no contract. So we'll sign him up. Hulk Hogan, bring him in. Well, probably not him, but you know,
Definitely
Stone Cold Steve Austin 97. You know, oh, you guys have Stone Cold? No, he's under contract with us. Not Stone Cold 97.
But so much of that is marketing. What do you call it? What's the name that you use to present it as a useful tool and not a tool for destruction?
That's when I bring you in. I'd say, hey, Lars, you know how I successioned you out? You want to come back and name this thing? Because I know you got some cool ideas, buddy.
Be like, nope. I'm starting the 100, Steve.
You're starting the 100. Oh, no. Don't buy Pierce. Oh, man, that's funny. What do we call it? I don't know.
Like, I don't know, Rawgate just rolls off the tongue so nicely.
It's Rawgate. Come on,
Rawgate.
yeah. You can't call it Dynamite Gate or Collision Gate.
Rampage Gate. Those don't make it sound as bad as what it actually is.
There's too many syllables.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. P. Lord got it. Rawgate Plus.
Oh, sorry, Rawgate Plus. It's Rawgating at scale. Sorry. You got it.
The 100. That was good.
Elemental Giant says, what should be the opening and main event matches for Collision? I assume the debut episode.
Oh, man. Jushin Thunder Liger versus Brian Pillman Jr.
Good. And what's the main event?
What was the main event? I don't know. Was it Hogan versus
Punk.
Big Boss Man?
Punk and FTR against Butcher Blade and Kip Sabian.
Was Sting Flair the main event of Nitro, or was it Hogan Boss Man?
The last one or the first one?
I'm sorry, the first Nitro. I think it was yeah. Sting Flair was when Luger showed up, but then Hogan Boss Man was the main event because it was for the title.
Yeah.
So MJF versus who's today's Boss Man? QT Marshall. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. There you go.
The Butcher. MJF. Oh, there you go. MJF versus the Butcher. Yeah, that main event's Collision.
Davin with Dan asked, what other impact or explosive-based nomenclature could be used or would be used the next show AEW makes? Extra points for wrong answers only.
Okay.
Ground Zero.
That's good.
Critical Mass. Blast Radius.
Oh, that's good. Those are all really good. See, that's why I bring you in to name things, man. You remember when the friggin' space shuttle blew up on the launch pad and Roman was watching on his little phone?
Yeah.
Oh, that was good.
Back in his pocket.
Catastrophe.
All right.
That's more like an accident. I don't know. I was trying to think. I watched the Oppenheimer trailer the other day.
Oh, how was it?
It's gonna be, I think it'll probably be cool. I like the old period historical stuff.
Same.
I like that stuff.
You can do fission or fusion.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's really good. Atomic.
Collision.
Hydrogen.
Calamity.
Calamity.
Catalyst.
Catalyst is good. Yeah.
Anyways. Jonathan
Fallout,
Vieira. Yeah, Fallout. Jonathan
Fallout.
Vieira says, with Punk only really having limited use left. His words, not mine.
Limited use Punk.
Oh my gosh. Who could be the new potential pillars of Collision, similar to how the SmackDown 6 established that show?
Oh, man. Well, I mean, I think they named him in the thing.
Yeah,
Thunder Rosa, Hobbs, Miro, Andrade.
Yeah, that's good.
There you go. And Samoa Joe. That's who they named in the thing.
Dank Meme Center, is it out of the realm of possibility to think Damian Priest may get the rub from dethroning Roman Reigns for the Undisputed Universal title?
Right now, yeah, it's out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still look. I love Damian Priest. I really do. I think he's a great wrestler, and he's got a great 10 out of 10 look. He really does.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
His promos still really aren't all that terrific, and
No, but they're charming.
they are charming in their own way. But it's not like Cody, who's charming and just Shakespearean. It's like I've got Olivier, Lawrence Fishburne, and
Orson Welles, maybe?
Orson Welles all wrapped up into one package right there with Cody. And he's charming and self-deprecating and all. And he is the man, in his own words.
Humble in there either.
And he's a remarkably humble individual.
Sing from that.
I think he's going to have like godlike powers soon, if that's, the reporting is correct on that.
See, that's going to be quite an achievement there for
The reporting
the
is
American
correct.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
Guardian Ape, what's your guy's favorite wrestler cameo from a movie? I observe fuck Hulk Hogan Day every day.
Of course. Oh,
But
I know.
But when he showed up in Muppets from Space,
Yeah, it was pretty cool, man. It was pretty cool.
he was just there. He was Hollywood Hogan. He had one
dude,
quick
come
little
on.
scene.
Come on, man. We liked Hollywood Hogan back in the day. He was funny. He brought the entertainment. Man, that's a good one. I'm going to say Necro Butcher in The Wrestler.
Oh, that's good.
That was rough, man. That shit was rough.
Yeah.
Of course, Ernest the Cat Miller also was in that.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was really cool. I know there was a couple others there.
Of course, Macho Man in Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, I thought that
Bonesaw.
was cool. Yeah, Captain Insano was really good in
Yeah.
in the whatever that was, the Water Boy.
Let's see here. Floppy here asks, what is your guy's most forgettable WrestleMania moment that could have been legendary? The example that Floppy gives here is Corbin beating Kurt Angle in his retirement match.
Oh yeah, most forgettable WrestleMania moment
That could have been legendary. That
could have been
really neat.
legendary. I mean, the SummerSlam moment of the same ilk as when Lex Luger beat Yokozuna
Yeah.
by count out, and then they all
Yeah.
celebrated like he had won. That was stupid. WrestleMania moment that could have been, I don't know, like, I'll just throw this one out there. Remember when Braun won the tag titles with like a little kid? If it was just Braun and he won the tag titles as one person,
That'd been pretty neat.
that'd have been kind of cool. Yeah, that'd have been kind of cool, but they cheesied it up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good answer. I ain't got anything better than that. Let's see. Forbes here says, I might be reaching, but do you think it would be a bad look for WWE if they have Sammy and Kevin drop the titles in Saudi, since they were two most outspoken about the events in the past?
I think that's a solid question. I saw that question earlier, and I think that's a solid question, I guess. Maybe, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, remember when WWE did this,
Yeah.
and it's like we'd get over it and everything, but yeah, I mean, kind of not a great look.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
Maggie says Seth Rollins as part of the Serpent Society, even though I haven't seen it. She's like Seth Rollins in that grainy still from, somebody stole from a picture somebody took from a set. Yeah,
Exactly. Your UFO guy says, if you could go back in time and be the referee for one match in wrestling history, what would it be? First time there's a referee in a wrestling match.
I would say, yeah, like the first fake wrestling match, like when the Gold Dust Trio decided to make him fake. I'd be like, wait, what? So you're gonna be the ref, but like this is the finish. How do you
Finish?
What do you know the future? How's that? How's that work?
Do you have a Gray's Sports Almanac?
And it's like, no, listen, these are all going to be fake from now on.
What?
Nobody's. What do you mean? What? That
No one's
can't be
gonna watch
legal.
this.
Wait, there's betting on this too? That can't be legal.
Jared Ellis with AEW Collision officially being announced. Can you power rank the current major wrestling shows? So WWE, AEW product at least.
Oh yeah, dude, absolutely. So you've got
SmackDown's one.
SmackDown's. I don't know, dude. I don't know. For me, my money these days, give me Raw. Raw's number one. It's a stacked ass show.
I know, but it's 3 hours long, man.
Show. Oh, I'm all good with that. It's like 2 if you fast forward through everything.
Yeah, but if I fast forward through everything I don't have to watch on SmackDown, it's an hour and a half. Maybe an hour and 20 minutes.
Oh, man, I'm good. I got that couch out there, big old 80-inch TV. I'm good.
Bloodline's on SmackDown 2, SmackDown 1.
Fine.
NXT might be 2 for me.
I love NXT. But it's a firm 3 for me. Yeah, it's Raw, SmackDown. No, you know what, dude? I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna say it's Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite. Man, Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs on the same show. I'll say this: Raw, SmackDown, Collision, Dynamite, NXT.
Okay, I'll go SmackDown, NXT. I don't know what Collision's going to be yet, so I got to say Dynamite.
Oh, you got a lot of info. Come on, Nitro setup, 2 hours
Raw,
live, Punk,
Collision, Rampage.
Collision's right before Rampage. Before Collision, I'm sorry, what's before Collision? Raw?
Yeah, it's 3 hours.
Before that is Dynamite.
Yeah. For all it's 2 hours, it performed a lot better on my
Let me
list.
ask you something.
3
Where do you
hours
watch?
too much.
Where do you watch Raw at? You're right there where you're
Right
sitting?
where I'm sitting.
Bro, come on, man. Get some popcorn. Fire up the big screen.
I don't even really like popcorn that much. Gets stuck in my teeth.
Get a veggie tray, and then and fire up the big screen. You got to learn how to watch these things to maximize your watching value.
See, here I could do that for Raw because I don't have to take notes.
Hey,
thanks to Chris.
Come on over
Chris.
here. Come on over here. Hang out. You be
Pass.
on my couch. Burn some farts into my couch.
Pass.
What? You don't want to watch? You don't want to watch some wrestling with your buddy?
It's late. I'm grumpy. You don't want to deal with me.
It's all good. I've been
Trust
dealing
me.
with your shit for 30 years.
Yeah, you really just deal with my shit at 9 o'clock in the evening. Grumpy.
I'd do it just to make you, just to enhance your viewing experience.
Detract. Blake here asks, with the exception of the U.S. women's tag titles, it feels like every title in WWE isn't changing hands until next year's Mania. Are these long title reigns going to cause WWE to feel stale sooner rather than later? It's all about the stories. If there's interesting stories, doesn't matter. Long title reign, short title reign. Stories are interesting. That's what's most important, at least to me.
Agreed. No, I'm with you. Copy paste.
All right, very well. Johnny Blaze here has an interesting scenario. Says, hear me out. AJ beats Seth, become world champion. AJ gets traded to Raw with the OC for Judgment Day. Seth and AJ feud. With Rhea now on SmackDown. Okay. Bianca versus Rhea to unify the women's championships on SmackDown. Then they introduce a new women's world championship for Raw.
This is not a question anymore. No. This is one of them things where they just fantasy book a bunch of shit and to ask for our thoughts. No, we don't do that.
Well, hold on. They didn't ask for thoughts. It's could you see this working?
Oh, no, I can't because I don't even know what's going on right now. What was that? There was like by the third sentence, like, what are we doing right now?
Next question, Alex Foster. Do you guys ever see comedic wrestlers being featured as main eventers like Yano, R-Truth, Santino, etc.?
Orange Cassidy's already a main eventer.
Yeah, Orange Cassidy is a main eventer.
So Yano should be. He should be. But by and large, no, not really.
Patrick Kennedy, since they mentioned on commentary on Friday on SmackDown that Edge never lost the World Heavyweight Championship, does that mean in kayfabe that the lineage is there? I'm confused because they also said the first World Heavyweight Champion on Raw. Oh, they're asking about whether the new World Heavyweight Championships continue the old World Heavyweight Championships lineage. No, because that lineage was wrapped up with the WWE title.
Y'all need to simplify these questions. Y'all need to simplify these questions a little bit, man.
Yeah.
You know. Can we get back to like cast Drew McIntyre and Gilligan's Island or some shit?
Fear not. I have a question here from Justin Sider that'll set your mind at ease, Steve.
As long as it's from Justin Sider, I'll answer anything.
Which show is Hostess Snack Cakes and which is Little Debbie's Snack Cakes?
That should be the thumbnail right there.
Sorry.
Which show is across brands or like which promotion?
Let's say what promotion is best represents Hostess versus
WWE. It's the
brand
fucking
name.
dude. It's the brand name. It's the Xerox. Come on, of course WWE's Hostess. And I love Little Debbie. Might be pound for pound better than Hostess.
Could be.
AEW does have, I'm sorry, match to match, the better wrestling, the better, like, actual substantive wrestling.
Yeah.
So AEW's Little Debbie.
Can't disagree with any of that.
Oh, man.
Elvin here asks, do you think Riddle can turn on Kevin and Sammy with the if you can't beat him, join him type thing? Just a thought. No, Riddle's not turning heel.
Nobody wants Riddle in their faction. So he is desperate to go with whoever will invite him to be a partner. The Bloodline's not inviting him to anything. Judgment Day doesn't want him. So I don't see that happening. happening.
High Plains Drifter, which do you reform, the Way or DIY? And how does Von Wagner join?
Okay. No, Von Wagner. Hey. You reform DIY. DIY. That's what you do. They were killer as a team.
They really were.
They were amazing as a team.
They were. They really were. Last one here from Mayor Planet Houston. What is going to main Night of Champions? Roman and Solo versus the Usos or Seth versus AJ for the new World Heavyweight Championship? It's got to be Seth and AJ.
It should be, but it won't be. It's going to be the Bloodline holding up all those titles.
Roman and Solo against the Usos, or against Kevin and Sammy are like, it says versus the Usos here, is like middle of the card, not even opener.
Oh, wow.
And then Seth and AJ main event, because you want to make that belt seem like it's on par with the ones Roman has.
I'm sorry. You know what the real answer is? Cody versus Brock. It's above titles, and it's to determine who's the man. That's the answer. That's going to main event, and guess what? It will main event. Thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate it. Thanks for all the great questions out there. Thank you for all the subs, the gifted memberships, and we'll be back tomorrow with our AEW review. I'm sure it's going to be another huge announcement. They're going to get that bill, Larson. They're going to get the bill. Till next time. The bill.
Oh yeah, the bill.
They're getting a bill. Till next time.
You're talking about Bill Goldberg, right?
I'm talking about $1 billion.
Oh, I thought you meant AEW was going to sign Bill Goldberg.
It's a possibility, I guess. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.